Hey, do you like thinking for yourself? Do you form opinions off your own beliefs and actually play the killer you're so against? Instead of worshipping content creator opinions because you're a droid? Well, of course not. You're a Survivor one-trick who occasionally plays Blight or Huntress, aka half the community. Now listen, that might seem a little straw-manny, but if you've been digging through this horrific shit dump of a subreddit like I have, then straw-manning is the best tactic to get the sheep on your side. So before I start, I just want to say lazy content alert. This is gonna be a pretty quick video, and it's not gonna have much editing. But none of the YouTubers you worship actually edit really at all, so it should be fine. They just talk with gameplay, and that's what I'm going to be doing here, so hopefully I can get away with that for one video. So anyways, a new killer has come into DBD with an interesting dash power, able to slide through pallets and make quick distance to catch up after brain-dead pre-drops and holding W to force interaction between the two sides. He's a solid A-tier killer, incredibly fun to play, and surely we wouldn't gut him. I mean, he's brand new. Oh, never mind. We're complaining that he's broken, and he appears too much despite it being a new chapter. Well, anything to get more blights in the world, right? History really does repeat itself, as you can see, with even killers like Vecna getting gutted because of the amount of screaming over Mage Hand, and now he's about as B tier as you can get. Not to mention the Chucky nerf dumpstering another interesting dash killer while leaving the King and Queen of Dead by Daylight untouched. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's almost like nerfing the new A tier killer who's been out for 3 days will lead to even more of the S tier killer who's been out for 4 years. Funny how that works. With all this whining and negativity brewing around this killer, I'm sure there are some sound arguments. Let's see what the content creators are telling us to think. Okay, well, starting off, the main video I saw first was by the Moist Critical of DBD, who spams out videos with no editing while sitting at home in his pajamas and still complaining about it for some reason. He's essentially the yes man of the DBD community and one of these wholesome guys. In his video, when it comes to changes, he essentially says he wants the initial grab attack to have half the range and half the hitbox. Because the free hit, you know, the entire point of his power is too easy to hit. But these guys can also do it. He also said he wants more recovery for power canceling and slower vault speed on pallets, so cool, he's Chucky again. Look, I get some parts of his power may seem a tad overtuned, but he's been out for 3 days now and people haven't even learned the proper counterplay. The entire point of his kit is he gets the first hit easily and can't damage as easily on the second hit. We finally have another fast-paced dash killer who can rival the power level of some of the highest, which is the killer type that most people in the community tend to gravitate towards based on pick rates. And we want him gutted within not even a week of him coming out, because we all want to play against more blights. I mean, I don't tend to take Scott Cuck's opinion very seriously on many things. He's primarily a Survivor player who plays nice guy killer, and literally says he wants the killer changed because he doesn't want to be bullied by survivors and feels bad playing him, because he only plays the base killers that are fun for them, right? His content is already repetitive dog shit, but even better creators like Mint Skull and Asimovs have cried for similar nerfs. It's amazing what a mob mentality can do. I mean, I've seen it myself many times. Look, as someone who's played as and against the Ghoul for the past few days, I'll say the only thing I think is a little too strong is the Enrage mode vault speed. It almost feels like Scamper 2.0 on certain pallets. And it can legit feel uncounterable sometimes. But every killer can force the survivor into uncounterable situations. If you're up against a good nemesis and he's at mid-range in a pallet, then he's going to hit you if he's good. There's a reason why all survivors just pre-drop nowadays, and it's because they all want to have the big 5-gen chase, even though the killers they go against are usually not that bad because of the MMR soft cap. They don't realize the content creators they worship actually derank for content. But that's a discussion for another day. The point is, chases are meant to be lost eventually against any killer. Like Blight, for example. He hits you, and then about 10 seconds later, you're dead, basically. Or unless you drop a pallet, and then he catches up again, and yeah, it's I don't know why that's okay, but this isn't. When it comes to the Scamper Vault, though, or cutting survivors off, there are many ways to outplay it. Every brain-dead survivor nowadays uses windows of opportunity. And the maps are so cluttered with safe shit and chaining tiles that there's almost always something safe to get to. The time it takes to power cancel and recover for a hit is a solid 5 or 6 seconds. Listen up, counting the cooldown, the slowdown after the cooldown, and the time it takes to catch back up for a lunge hit. But this guy can hit you without canceling anything and uses it way more. I think maybe one of the reasons he feels so bad to play against for Survivor one-tricks is because he actually counters a lot of the crutch bullshit right now. Finesse and Dramaturgy are really popular right now, and a killer that can consistently keep you injured denies both of those free, no-effort chase tools. Exhaustion perks in general are weaker against him because his power actually forces you to interact with the game, instead of holding W with Lithe and pre-dropping the 20 god pallets on the map like every Survivor does nowadays. When you're running from him, you have to identify where he might be going next to try to cut you off. because he can take your over-reliance on holding W like a robot to get in front of you, which is incredibly unique, and no other killers except for maybe Wraith or Legion actually do that. Survivors being injured also can't rely on their brain-dead styptics and syringes because of the deep wound, so when they get outplayed, they actually get punished for it. So instead of just mouth-breathing during a match with a syringe and a map offering, they actually might have to turn their monitors on. Like Skull Merchant, this calls for an immediate nerf. Another complaint I hear is that he's really good at tunneling, because he can hit you with the deep wound off hook to cancel brain-dead hard and off the record, but like, can't every killer hit you off the hook twice? Like, his successful attack animation from hitting the grab is even longer than a basic attack, so he still has to hit you twice off hook. This isn't like an original Pain Pinhead or something, he still has to hit you twice like every killer. Often during a normal match, we'll even have to hit a survivor 3 times to keep enraged, like a Nemesis would, which is another massive downside of his. His mobility is strong, but not stronger than Blight or Nurse. His lethality is strong, but nowhere near as strong as Blight or Nurse. I genuinely think the only reason he's getting so much hate is because based on the stats, so many brain-dead players main Blight and have huge egos about it for some reason, despite one-tricking the strongest killer in the game with the highest pick rate. Saying I'm cracked at Blight is like saying you're cracked at Genji in Overwatch or you're cracked at Soldier in TF2. You're one-tricking the most generic brain-dead main character and pretending like it's hard for some reason, and having an ego. And he still gets a pass, even by behavior, as mid-tier killers like Skull Merchant and Xenomorph get huge nerfs because of survivors crying. I'm 100% sure he's gonna get nerfed somehow, but the only question is, have they learned their lesson from Chucky? Another interesting dash killer who was very strong, but got dumpstered so hard that his high pick rate spiked down to bottom 10. And due to that, we get this, more Blights. Do you guys remember when Made for This was the best perk in the game and all 4 survivors were abusing it every match and it took months to get changed? Or currently Shoulder the Burden, which lets Swifts just brain-dead trade hook stage with no counterplay and make the killer's objective twice as long. Yeah, I hate to go all us versus them on you, but I can't help but notice a pattern here. Remember when Wesker was a great killer, but people cried about facing him every game, so now he's a high B-tier killer and not even the compies touch him anymore? More Blights! Speaking of which, I see this argument as blank new killer is overplayed. You saw when Wesker was out where everyone was bitching about facing him constantly. I don't really understand the crying about this for 2 reasons. First of all, isn't the entire point of a new killer coming out for everyone to play as them? Isn't that a success? Like, I know you guys are just dying to go get your 7th Huntress that night because she's a base killer or whatever, blah blah blah. But isn't the entire point of adding a new character for people to play them constantly? I mean, you see this in every game that has constant character drops, but I guess you feel it more in DBD due to the asymmetrical nature of the game. Just being one killer, not a new character on a team of existing characters. As primarily a killer player, I'm not too hyped about facing the same 10 perks in all my matches for the past year, or seeing the same 3 Coomer survivors in every game, or being sent to the same 2 maps every other game. But I don't go on the forums whining about it because people should be able to use whatever they want as long as it's not incredibly broken, and this is not incredibly broken, it's strong. But sure, keep crying about a killer who's been out for 3 days. Keep crying pretending that Blight is different or somehow takes skill, which he doesn't at all, by the way. He's really easy. All I know is I'm not even someone who likes dash-type killers much. I tend to prefer the more macro ones with multiple little abilities and a slower pace. But even as someone who generally doesn't like the Buzz Lightyear Isle Assemble of rush at Survivor with no counterplay and pretend it's skillful killers, I found I've been having a lot of fun with Kaneki. He souls to loop and respect the rules of the game, unlike some. And the easy injures let you play him in an entirely different way, spreading pressure to multiple survivors and moving around the map. It almost reminds me of Onryo before she also got gutted. I'm talking about, like, map-wide condemned Onryo. But I suppose this community knows what it wants. We'll soon see this A-tier killer go down a few tiers along with his pick rate, because he counters brain-dead perks and items as well as makes it so survivors can't hold W and pre-drop like they're used to. Anyways, thanks for making it to the end. Sorry for the lack of editing. I kind of just wanted to shit this one out like every YouTuber does while the situation is still relevant. You can leave your comments below, but I'm sure you won't have a good argument because I've seen all of them. Okay, anyways, bye. Keep getting mid-tier killers nerfed.